Do you ever find yourself digging through the past, thinking, I wish I had acted differently? Or I should have responded better? Do you replay the same scenarios in your head over and over again? One of the biggest causes of overthinking is being stuck in the past. If you want to think less about the past, you're in the right place. In this video, I've prepared a detailed guide to help you make peace with the past and leave regrets behind. Regrets, the most toxic claws of the past. I wish I hadn't gone there. I wish I hadn't acted that way. If I knew then what I know now, I never would have done it. We constantly relive past events in our minds, wondering how things would have turned out if we had acted differently. This traps us in a vicious cycle. While stuck in the past, we find ourselves missing out on the present. The first thing I want to tell you, my dear friend, is that you might be being too hard on yourself when it comes to the past. The truth is, at the time those events happened, you made the best decision you could with the experience and level of awareness you had. None of us are born knowing how to handle every situation perfectly. As we gain experience and grow in awareness, we begin to respond to things with more maturity. Think of it this way: the you from the past isn't the same person you are today. Just like how iPhones release a new version each year with updated features, we also upgrade. So, just as we can't blame an iPhone 15 for not having the features of an iPhone 16, we can't blame our past selves for not having the mindset and experience we have now. Because to reach the mindset we have today, we had to go through those experiences in the past. Every event teaches us something, whether it's about relationships, setting boundaries, managing emotions, saying no, or just life in general. And as we learn, we level up. If we choose to see each event as a lesson and take away what we need to learn, we can grow. If we don't, we stay stuck. So, don't be unfair to yourself by feeling guilty. You made the best decision you could at the time with the knowledge, emotions, and experience you had. You did the best you could. Now, you might be seeing better options. You might think, it would have been better if I had done this or that. This just means you're learning and growing. If you take it as a lesson, you'll handle similar situations better next time. You'll be able to manage it more effectively. For example, recently I was in a meeting that I didn't handle well. I wasn't satisfied with what I said or how I acted. I thought, I could have done better. Then I realized, this type of meeting is still new to me. I'm learning as I go. That's what matters. This time didn't go as well as I hoped, but I know the next one will be much better because I learned a lot from this experience. Thinking, I wish I had said this, or I wish I had done that won't help me. With the experience I had at the time, that was the best I could do. To reach my better version, I needed to attend that meeting and make those mistakes. Making mistakes is completely normal, because with the experience I had at the time, I did my best. What's important is to see that meeting as an experience. The second thing I want to talk about is this. Every good or bad thing that happens to us is an experience. Usually, when good things happen, we think, life is great. And when bad things happen, we think, why did this happen to me? Of course, none of us want bad things to happen to us, but here's the thing we forget. To have better relationships, improve financially, and grow in our careers, we need more experience. We need to learn more, and we need to learn from what we go through. The tough situations we face are life's greatest teachers. The events we go through teach us about relationships, how to manage our emotions, and life itself. It's easier said than done, I know. But let me explain with an example. Say you and a friend decide to go into business together, but once you start working, you realize your friend isn't pulling their weight and isn't doing what they're supposed to. You might think, why did I get into this? Or, I wish I hadn't gotten involved. Because your friend isn't acting the way you expected, you immediately label the situation as bad and start thinking, I should have never gotten into this. But consider this. If you never work with anyone, how will you learn how to collaborate? If this is your first time, struggling and not knowing exactly how to handle it is completely normal. You'll have to ask your friend to do more. How will you balance work and friendship? These are tough things, but they can only be learned through experience. You will make mistakes along the way, but by staying in the situation, you'll learn what to watch out for when working with someone else. As you gain more experience, it'll become easier to handle. If you avoid partnerships because they're difficult, you might miss out on some of the most rewarding experiences of your life. By avoiding challenges, we're actually avoiding learning. And the more we avoid learning, the less we gain from life's valuable lessons, and we fail to level up. We don't reach our most advanced versions. That's why you'll see some people who are only 30 but seem as wise and mature as an 80-year-old. They see even the smallest challenges as lessons to be learned. Then there are others who, even at 80, are still complaining. Despite all their life experience, they've learned nothing and blame life and others for their problems. You probably know people like this. This is the key point. The most effective way to let go of regrets and break free from the past is to see every difficult situation as a learning experience. Ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? It's hard to do this in the moment, I know, but once it becomes a habit, it will transform your life. When a situation challenges me, the first thing I ask myself is, in what area do I need to grow that this situation is testing me? Sometimes I get upset about something someone said. I ask myself why I feel like they don't value me. Where does this feeling of being undervalued come from? Sometimes I find myself worrying about money, and I ask, what is life trying to teach me about earning money? In what areas do I feel inadequate? Every challenge we face is trying to teach us something, and once it becomes a habit to think this way, you start to see every event as a lesson. Every event in your life brings you closer to your newest, most advanced version. To me, that's an incredible thing. Now, on to the third topic. Do you ever find yourself thinking, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why does this always happen to me? This is one of the thoughts that keep us stuck in the past, the idea that bad things always happen to us. But the truth is, bad things don't always happen to you. It just feels that way. From the outside, other people's lives may look easier, better. It seems like everything is perfect for them. But think about it. Who shares their debts, fears, or arguments on social media? Who tells their coworkers or relatives about their deepest worries? We all look like we have it together from the outside because we all wear masks. Problems, struggles, arguments, debts, unfortunate events, and losses all happen behind those masks. No one shares their pain and misfortunes on Instagram. The bad things that happened to you didn't just happen to you. Bad things happen to everyone. You just didn't know about theirs. If we remembered that everyone goes through similar challenges, we wouldn't feel so alone in our past struggles. Losses, dealing with thoughtless people, financial difficulties, and family problems wouldn't feel so unique to us. If you ever catch yourself thinking, why me? Remind yourself, bad things don't only happen to me. These things don't just happen to me. I just can't see what others around me are going through. Everyone faces similar challenges. The fourth point is this: whatever happens has already happened, and it's impossible to change. When I find myself dwelling on something from the past, I immediately ask myself, this event has already happened. I can't change it. Is there any benefit to thinking about it this much? No. Remembering this always helps me. The more I reminded myself that thinking about things I can't change doesn't help me, the more I started questioning why I was stuck on the past. If it doesn't add anything to my life, if it only makes me feel bad, and if it's within my control not to think about it, I can choose not to dwell on it. By reminding myself of this, I didn't instantly stop thinking about the past, but over time, I gained awareness, and it became easier to realize how unnecessary it is to stay stuck in the past. I started focusing my thoughts more on the future and what I can do. Anytime you find yourself replaying the past in your mind, ask yourself, can I change this event? No. If I can't change it, is there any benefit to thinking about it? No. This mental habit will help you think less about the past. Lastly, I always remind myself that everything that happens or doesn't happen is for the best. Sometimes things don't go as we want, but with time, we realize that what we wanted at the time wouldn't have been good for us. Has this ever happened to you? Maybe there's someone you thought you couldn't live without, but when you look back now, you're glad things didn't work out. There might have been times you thought you were meant for a particular job or career path, but in hindsight, you realize you're grateful for how things turned out. Whether you believe in fate, the universe, or just life, sometimes things happen that are beyond our control. But when you trust that everything happens for a reason or that things will work out, it's much easier to let go of what didn't happen and move forward without regret. As I mentioned earlier, trusting that everything happens for a reason can significantly ease the burden of regret. When something doesn't go the way we hoped, we often feel disappointed or frustrated. But over time, we usually come to see that things worked out for the best, even if we couldn't understand why in the moment. Here's a personal example. Once, I really wanted a certain job. I thought it was the perfect opportunity for me, and when I didn't get it, I was crushed. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days, replaying the interview in my head, wondering where I went wrong. But months later, I found out that the company had some internal issues, and a lot of people were unhappy working there. If I had gotten that job, it likely wouldn't have been the fulfilling opportunity I imagined. Instead, the job I ended up getting after that was a much better fit for me in the long run. At the time, I was disappointed, but now I see that everything worked out the way it was meant to. Life has a funny way of guiding us, sometimes through obstacles, to where we're truly meant to be. But to experience that, we have to be open to the idea that what we want isn't always what's best for us. The key is learning to trust the process, even when it's hard, and accepting that we can't control everything. What we can control is how we respond, how we grow from the experience, and how we choose to move forward. Another way to think about this is to remember that life is full of cycles. We go through phases of growth, change, and renewal. Sometimes we feel like we're stuck or going through a rough patch, but these phases are often necessary for us to develop resilience, learn important lessons, or make room for something better to come along. It's all part of the bigger picture, even if we can't see it clearly at the time. One thing that can help is to practice gratitude for what you have now. When we're focused on regrets, or what didn't go our way, it's easy to overlook the good things in our lives. Taking a moment each day to reflect on what you're grateful for can shift your mindset away from the past and help you focus on the present. You can start small. Think of 1 or 2 things you appreciate about your life right now. Over time, this practice will become a habit, and it will naturally draw your attention away from what's missing and toward what you have. It's also important to remember that regrets are a part of being human. We all have them, but holding on to them too tightly prevents us from fully living in the present and creating a better future. A helpful way to reframe regret is to think of it as feedback rather than failure. Instead of viewing past mistakes as something to be ashamed of, see them as information that can guide you moving forward. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Or, how can this experience help me make better choices in the future? The ability to learn from your mistakes is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's what allows you to grow and evolve. The mistakes you've made don't define you. How you choose to use them does. When you start viewing your regrets as opportunities for growth, they lose their power over you. You're no longer stuck in the past, but instead, using your past as a foundation for your future. Now let's talk about one final point: self-compassion. We are often our harshest critics. We judge ourselves for the things we didn't do, the chances we didn't take, or the mistakes we made. But would you talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself? Imagine a close friend came to you, feeling regretful about a mistake they made. You wouldn't berate them or tell them they should have known better. Instead, you'd offer them understanding, support, and encouragement. You'd remind them that they're human and that everyone makes mistakes. So why not extend that same kindness to yourself? Practice being gentle with yourself when you think about the past. Acknowledge that you were doing the best you could at the time with the knowledge and experience you had. You deserve the same forgiveness and understanding that you would offer to someone else. And when you start being kinder to yourself, letting go of the past becomes a lot easier. In conclusion, letting go of the past and leaving regrets behind is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but with time, self-compassion, and a shift in perspective, you can free yourself from the weight of regret. Remember, you are constantly growing and evolving, and every experience, good or bad, has played a role in shaping who you are today. Embrace your journey, trust that everything happens for a reason, and focus on creating a future that's even better than you imagined. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has given you some valuable insights on how to let go of the past and make peace with yourself. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on personal growth and self-improvement. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.